What's going on, YouTube? T Moose here. Now, here is my throwback segment where I talk about the films that turned 10, 20, and 30 this week. Alright, the films celebrating their 10th anniversary. Oh man, I can't believe this one's 10. We got The Purge. Now, of course, this was the first installment, and I remember watching the first Purge when it was released. I mean, it is insane to believe it's been 10 years since The Purge. I remember watching that first Purge, starring Ethan Hawke, uh, from Blumhouse. I didn't really knew what to expect out of it, but then I saw that first person and I'm like, man, that movie is pretty awesome. I mean, a horror film, like, what a cool concept, a horror film where like crime is legal 24/7 and everything. I mean, that is really interesting. And of course, he did a couple of sequels after The Purge, and I thought the sequels were pretty decent. I mean, the last one maybe a step down, but I still enjoy the Purge franchise. And I mean, it all started with the first film. I mean, just think about it. 10 years ago this year, we had the start of the Purge, and next month will be the start. Will be the 10th anniversary of the Conjuring. So talk about cool horror. In 20, in 10 years. But anyway, all right. Films turning 10. We got the Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn film, The Internship. Now the film stars Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson as like recently laid off salesmen who attempt to compete with much younger and more technically skilled applicants for like a job at Google. And you also had people like Rose Byrne. You had Josh Bruner. You had Dylan O'Brien was in this. Tyler Sakara, Josh Gad, John Goodman, and even Will Ferrell was even in this. The internship was not as funny as the other Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn outing Wedding Crashers. I still had a fun time with the internship. It was of course directed by Sean Levy, who gave us stuff like Shoot by a Dozen. He has Deadpool 3 coming out next year. Sean Levy, I thought, did a really fun job with this. The chemistry between Wilson and Vaughn was as good. So yeah, it's a shame this movie did not really get as much love as let's say Wedding Crashers did. I'm not saying it's as good as Wedding Crashers, but the movie is still a pretty fun film. And if you guys have never really seen The Internship, I highly recommend it. It is a really fun little comedy. Now, other films turning 10, we got Joss Whedon's Much Ado About Nothing. Now, this is a modern retelling of Shakespeare's classic comedy about like two pairs of lovers with different takes on romance and a way on with words. And it had an interesting cast list here. You had the likes of Amy Acker, Alexis Denisov, Nathan Fillion, Clark Gregg, Frank Crimes. Enjoying lots of other other words, lots of Joss Whedon's buddies here. And Much Ado About Nothing, there's been other adaptations of Much Ado About Nothing before. And like I said, this was a really decent adaptation. It was in black and white. This was, of course, Joss Whedon's follow up to the Avengers, believe it or not. So it was interesting that he went from a blockbuster like Marvel's The Avengers to doing us like this little Shakespeare film. I thought that was interesting. So not a bad film if you guys haven't seen it. I mean, like I said, there's other adaptations of Much Ado About Nothing. I mean, one of which just turned 30 years old. It's the one with Keanu Reeves, Denzel Washington, Kenneth Branagh. Not a bad one there either. Right, also turning 10, we got a comedy that no one probably even heard of called Rapture-palooza. Now, Rapture-palooza stars the likes of. Here's the cast. We have the likes of Anna Kendrick, um, Craig Robinson. He also had John Francis Daly, Ken Jeong, Rob Corddry, Thomas Lennon, Paul Schreier, John Michael Higgins, Anna Gasteyer, Callum Warby. So, I mean, talk about an interesting cast here. And here's what the film's about. Uh, in it stars Anna Kendrick and John Francis Daly. Of course, the latter would go on to direct Dungeons and Dragons. And they play like a couple who battle their way to a religious apocalypse on a mission to defeat the beast, played by Craig Robinson. And Rapture-palooza is, like I said, it's not a comedy that really gets much love. Like, not many people probably even heard of it. But I remember watching this one in theaters back in 2013. it's a funny film. Craig Robinson is great. Ken Jeong is hilarious. Anna Kendrick, I think, is terrific. Really fun comedy if you guys haven't seen it. All right, now, what's the turning 20? We just had Fast X. So, a film turning 20 years old this week. We got the second installment of the Fast and Furious. This one is, of course, Too Fast, Too Furious. Of course, this was coming off the heels of the first Fast and Furious movie, which was a massive hit at the time. And this time around, this Fast and Furious, was actually pretty much the first one to not really feature starring Vin Diesel in it. It was also directed by John Singleton, who of course directs stuff like Boys in the Hood, um, Four Brothers. He's done some really terrific films over the years, and of course, Baby Boy. And this movie, of course, had the likes of Tyrese Gibson. It starred Paul Walker, Jordan Brewster. I love Too Fast, Too Furious. It's a really fun, entertaining ride. It's as good as the first film. I mean, of course, the Fast and Furious movies really got more off the ground once, like, Dwayne Johnson showed up, which was, of course, Fast Five. But Too Fast, Too Furious definitely has its moments, and it's a really interesting one. And, of course, we would go on to get Tokyo Drift, like, a couple years after. So, yeah, and the franchise, obviously, is still going. Maybe not going great in the box office now with Fast X, but it's still going. It's still a strong film franchise now. All right. Now, films turning dirty. We got the Michael J. Fox comedy Life with Mikey. Now, Life with Mikey starred the likes of Michael J. Fox, Nathan Lane, Christina Vidal, Cyndi Lauper was in this, David Huddleston, Ruben Blades, Paula Gracis, Christine Baranski. And if you guys don't know much about Life with Mikey, it stars Michael J. Fox, who plays Mikey Chapman, who is his former star from a 1970s sitcom, and he is now a talent agent for child stars. And Mikey discovers Angie Vega, played by Christina Vidal, who is this girl who picks like pockets for money and lives with her like teen sister and her boyfriend here. And together they try to hit it big and earn her role in a series for of television commercials and all. Life with Mikey, maybe is one of my favorite like non Back to the Future movies that Michael J. Fox has done. I love Life with Mikey. This movie is really hilarious. It's really heartfelt. The chemistry between Michael J. Fox and the little girl, Christina Vidal, who of course you might know her. You might know Christina. She actually played one of Lindsay Lohan's bandmates in Freaky Friday. She's been in some other stuff here and there. She appeared in that recent Jake Gyllenhaal film Guilty, I think was called. I mean, she was pretty young at the time. But yeah, this movie is really funny. It's really heartfelt. Mike J. Fox is great. Definitely give it a go if you guys haven't seen it. All right. Also turning 30, we got Guilty as Sin. Directed by Sidney Lumet. Of course, directed behind 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, The Verdict. And it stars the likes of Rebecca De Mornay, Don Johnson, Jack Warden, Stephen Lang, Luis Guzman, Ron White. And the film is about like this lawyer who begins to have doubts about her latest client, who's a smooth talking womanizer accused of murdering his wife, and he is also fearing that he's guilty and that she may be his next target here. And Guilty as Sin is probably, I mean, obviously seeing Sidney Lumet back to the Leo, John is interesting because of obviously he did do The Verdict. 12 Angry Men is a good one. So he really always had a knack for these like legal based films, and Guilty as Sin was not as good as 12 Angry Men or even The Verdict. And, it's a really good one. The performances by Mornay is great, Johnson's great. Really good film if you guys haven't seen that one. But that's pretty much it there. Let me leave you guys. Which of these films stand out to you the most? To me, the 10-year one will definitely be The Purge. The 20-year one will be Too Fast, Too Furious. and the dirty one will by far be Life with Mikey. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Samuel Simon.